So, Double Fine have done it again with Keeper. Game launched this week, and honestly, it's amazing how Microsoft didn't do as much fanfare for this game as they do other games. This game should have been paraded down the line. This should already tell you from the way I'm talking just how much I enjoyed this game. Sure, the game is around 6 hours long, it's not a very long game. But do keep in mind it's also priced at around $24.99. So it's aptly priced for the length of the game, but the journey within this game is phenomenal. And I use the word journey because the way I felt about this game was the way I felt about playing the game Journey on the PlayStation all those years ago. It was serenity, it was beautiful, and I have to say, whatever the people at Double Fine were smoking, just wow. The stuff that comes into this game, the creative thinking, the designs are just truly one of a kind. It is pure Double Fine, and you can immediately tell the exact art style that is Double Fine. Now, the game has you basically being a light tower. I'm not even joking. You're just a light tower, a lighthouse tower, and you're walking along. And the whole game essentially could be disguised as a walking simulator, but there's a lot of puzzles in the game. So as you're going along, you're doing puzzles, you're unearthing secrets, and you're going along. And the story, there is a story in the game, but it's not really told. The story itself kind of just you see it playing out before your very eyes, and it does come to a conclusionary end. And of course, once it does, the ending kind of leaves it, open to interpretation. It is a closed book, so there is no sequel or DLC for this. And having spoken to one of the developers, it seems like there is no DLC plan for this at all because it's a done deal. And the ending kind of does that. It does leave a bit of open to interpretation, but no matter which way you look at it, the ending is the ending. But the game itself is just phenomenal. The music, the art style, the simple gameplay from the mechanics that you have, depending on what's happening to your lighthouse. That as a lighthouse, you can dash or jump, which is cool. And I know these sound basic, but they really work within the world that you have. You've got the lighthouse itself with the lights, which focuses to change environments, whether it's from as moon the sunlight mode to the moon mode and other stuff. And all of this kind of really works. Then at some point, your lighthouse gets damaged and you turn into a boat, or you turn into a fluffy version of the lighthouse, which allows you to float around. It's so crazy just how fundamentally wacky and wonderful this game actually is. It just delivered in so many ways. I couldn't put the game down. It looks great. It's running on Unreal Engine 5.5. The lumen in this area, the lumen's use in this game is phenomenal. Now, in terms of frame rates, I was running this on PC, and the footage you're seeing is with me playing it on PC, and that's why this is basically streamed footage you're looking at. I'm not going to reveal too much in the gameplay from what you're seeing here, so I don't want to spoil it. I mean, it is like a 6 hour game, but what I can say is if you are playing this game or if you are on two minds to play it, you absolutely should. It's one of those games that will stick with you for a long, long time. And, I was on two minds about this game, but I thought, you know what? Let me just jump on this. And I am so glad that I did. It was so good that I ended up actually purchasing it just for the sake of it, even though I've got Game Pass Ultimate. That should tell you everything. Now, in terms of the graphical display, like I said, it is pure serenity. It is beautiful. It is wonderful to look at. In terms of audio, it is great. In terms of the little noises that these creatures make and the artistic directions that they took, where you focus on them and they try to run away and hide. There's all these little nooks and crannies where you focus your light on the flowers that are dead, and then the light from the light tower kind of revitalizes them and makes them blossom. And it's just there's so much going on in such a small confined area as you're walking along. I mean, the game itself is super linear until you get to a couple of areas which kind of branch out a little bit, but even those itself are linear. There's nothing there that really turns around and says, "Hey, this is just gonna be open world." There's none of that. Everything kind of follows through a path. There is a chapter select that you can go back for achievements that you've missed. Unfortunately, for the time being, it doesn't tell you where those achievements are, but the feedback has been passed on to the team, and hopefully in a future update, that can be corrected. But there's like tons of chapters. Overall, there's four major chapters in the game. You've got the lighthouse, you've got the boat, you've got the cloudy, candy flossy tower variant, which allows you to float. And then there's the final variant at the end, which kind of morphs into something else as well right at the end, but I will leave that for you to discover. Again, this is really, really good stuff. Again, I can't praise this game highly enough. Gameplay was awesome. Music was great. The scenery, the ambience, the serenity, the simple gameplay, the fact that the puzzles weren't overly difficult and were really well thought out and kept you kind of moving every single time. Even when you thought you're getting stuck, you're not. The camera angles were a bit of an issue to me, but I've been told that that was actually a deliberate decision that they took. In fact, the camera angles were my only complaint, and the developer I spoke to openly said that was a creative decision because they wanted the camera shots to be in a way that showed this artistic scenery as much as possible because it's such a beautiful game to look at. And in order to capture those vistas, in order to capture those moments of bliss, they decided to go in a fixed camera kind of reaction. So you don't have control of the camera overall, you have kind of like a very, very loose control over it. The left analog stick on the controller basically controls the character you're moving, and depending on where you're facing, the camera slowly moves around. But overall, that was probably the only thing that I had a problem with this game, despite the fact that it was a short game and I finished it in about 6 hours, 6.5 hours. I wanted more, and that's what you want from a game like this. You want to come back and you want more. So, what is my overall verdict of this game? You'll be very surprised because this game definitely gets my seal of approval. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend you do. This is a 9 out of 10, must play game. Double Fine have delivered yet again. I know people are going to say that they've been working for how many years on this game and they've only delivered, a 5-6 hour game. I don't care. This 5-6 hour game will trump a lot of the games out there right now that are giving you 20-30 hours of bloated gameplay. Believe me, this game will take you through some of the wackiest, craziest, shroomiest experiences. I mean, at some point we were questioning just how high were these devs when they were actually designing this, because that's how crazy and wacky it gets, and it works. It absolutely works. This for me is probably one of the best games I've played this year, and that's saying something. It's really stuck with me. It really resonated with me, and I absolutely loved every moment of the game. It's just phenomenal. And the silent storytelling that you actually watched and encountered as you played along and saw the stuff that were unraveling as it happened. It's crazy how you can have a really good story without any dialogue. And that's credit to the team for being able to portray that. And this is why I compared it to Journey at the beginning, because that did exactly the same thing. And so for that reason, a 9 out of 10 is fully justified for this game. If the camera angles, in my opinion, gave you a little more leeway, even if not a lot, but just some legroom to turn around at times, I probably would have given this a 10. But because of the camera angles, I understand why they did it, but it was still bothering me. I gave it a 9. I give it a 9 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have you played it? And if you have, what are your thoughts? And if you haven't played it, let me know if this review has convinced you to play it. The footage I've used is not going to be too into the game. It's probably the first like 2 or 3 areas, but I'm only taking snippets of those areas, so not to reveal too much of the game. So hopefully that is good for you. Hopefully you've enjoyed the review, and I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.